This is a cigar box guitar made by Chicken Bone John, the godfather of the cigar box guitar. I love my cigar box guitar made by Chicken Bone John. It's lovely. And over here, this lovely piece of wood is a neck that I bought from a seller on eBay. And it was already fretted for me, and that's a job that I could never do in a million years because I'm no good at making things. But as somebody sold me a neck that already had the frets on, I decided that I'm going to have a go at making a cigar box guitar with this lovely pre-fretted neck. Okay, so I've just made and inhaled 15 metric tons of sawdust, but I've now got a piece to reinforce the neck. Isn't that ugly? Hey, but it does the job, because at least it will do the job once it's glued on, because as I say, it has to get glued on there so that when it goes into the body, this part can be machined out for a pickup. So the next part is, the only pain in the arse is that this piece of wood that I got, which was supposed to be 35mm wide, the same as the neck, is actually 30. It's supposed to be the same sort of fencing sapel, sapel, I don't know, S-A-P-E-L-L-E. Hardwood from Nigeria. It's supposed to be the same stuff, and it came through and it's 5mm narrower, and I'm not going to be bothered to try to make a piece which is 5mm wide in the same length. That's never going to work, not with my skill set. So basically I'm going to stick that on there, and it's going to have to do. So there is the neck, and it is now being glued. Never before has so much PVA glue been stuck to so many things inadvertently. This stuff went absolutely everywhere. Oh well. Thing is, if I don't try these things, I'll never learn, will I? But it shouldn't be too bad. The PVA should clean up quite nicely when it's finished. I think I've got it all the way along. I put plenty of it on. On me, on the table, on the walls, on the floor, everywhere. Anyway, we'll see. Just got to give it, I'm going to give it 24 hours to dry at least. And time for a beer. Hurrah! So, here we have the glued up neck with its reinforcing part. I think I'm going to have to put a bit of extra glue inserted in there. I'll probably mix in some sawdust, because I think I can see a minuscule little gap there. The PVA will fill that nicely, but it's gone all transparent along the sides where it gooed out a little bit. But basically that's going to be good, because I did a 3D model last night on the computer, and basically the cutout's going to have to go all the way through that almost. The cutout sits quite deep down. The pickup sits quite far down, so the cutout's going to have to go quite far down there. But that's the basic plan there. So that's going okay. Then the next thing I have to do, actually, apart from sorting out the box and the entire body, which is still quite daunting to work out all that stuff, but the tuning pegs go at the top here. So there are the pieces being glued on the side. They're going to be the place that the bridge gets screwed onto. It's all upside down. I've used the kitchen, all the bathroom tile. There's a sort of a landing. There's a flat surface to get all the bits correctly aligned. When I pressed it down, then clamped it up and then turned it over and checked everything was aligned. And I used latex gloves. And I used a wet cloth to wipe off surplus PVA, and I've glued a lot less things to a lot less things this time, hopefully just the right things to the right things. So maybe I'm making some small degrees of progress, but we'll see. I definitely put lots of PVA on because these bits have got to be well glued on, because they're glued on the side, and then the force on them is like a shearing force to pull them off. But there's only got 3 strings on one of these cigar box guitars, at least on this one, so it's not anywhere near as bad as you'd normally get on a 6-string guitar. So there's no sort of truss rod up the neck or anything. So this is the proof of concept sort of thing, how I'm going to take 10mm off the thickness of the neck on the guitar. It's not going to be bolted down like that, but this is an XY table. Etc. And this arm can go up and down under program control after I built the electronics box, which will go into this plastic box that I made today, and control wire plugs in the front there, and this is a different box which used to drive this machine up and down on a different project, but now it's going to be a router control. And so basically this is just me proving that I can in fact use it to control the thickness of some wood. So I'll make a box which drives you up and down in nice increments, like 0.5 millimetre or 1 millimetre. Then I'll drop the thing down so it's exactly on the top, and then set the box down. Use the buttons on the box to drop the arm down in sort of 1 or 2 millimetre increments at a time. Okay, so this is a quick test of the vertical axis controlling the router, and I'm trying to check the accuracy, and I think I got my maths wrong because I'm going to now, I've set that up on a ruler there. I think that's set to approximately 100 on the vertical axis. I'm going to set that to move it 1 millimetre upwards. Oh dear. 2, 3, 4, 5 millimetres according to my thing. No, I think that's factor of 2 out. Oh, buggeration, I've got my maths wrong. Okay, so after I had fixed the motor controller, I had a go at working on the arm. So this is me frigging about for hours. So I've speeded it up and I've turned off the sound because you don't want to hear me muttering to myself, really. But basically this goes on for quite a while. So yes, I've sped it up quite a bit. And the piece of wood on the XY table is movable because the XY table doesn't move quite enough to do the whole job, so the piece of wood will move backwards and forwards a bit so that I can slide it a bit further to get enough travel to do the whole job. And there was lots of measuring to be done to work out where to put the pieces of wood to clamp the neck down. So that's what all this is about. This is all set up, making the jig. And there's the jig with the pieces of wood appropriately placed, and there's me working out approximately where to start off on the machining procedure. The neck is held in place with a couple of wedges. Yeah, so the basic plan is that this box here will actually be laser cut out of 3mm ply by my friend Ian Bateson on his laser cutter that he's modified heavily and boosted the laser power and fixed the optics and improved them and done all sorts of marvellous work. It makes beautiful cuts now and engravings and so forth. So basically you design the artwork in Inkscape with the help of a piece of software called boxes.py, which you find on the internet, and then you mix all the artworks together in Inkscape, and then Ian processes them and cuts them out and delivers you a bunch of processed woodwork. So what happens is initially you get an output like this from boxes.py, so it's the outline of the actual box parts you need for a closed box, and then you need to import these into Inkscape and slice and separate them into pieces which will fit onto individual sheets of ply, because this would be far too big to fit on the bed of your laser cutter, of course. And once you've done that, you can then add engravings and things, and when you're laser cutting with the particular Whisperer, I think it's called, software, if you have a red line it's a cut and a blue line is an engraving, so you mix and match the two colours to get the things that you want. Today Ian came over with a big box of stuff. straight off the bed of his laser cutter, and it's beautiful. I've got some cleaning up to do. But this is how this thing comes off the bed of the laser cutter. And I'll set the camera up on a tripod in a moment, and we'll have a bit of sanding some of this. So after a few seconds of sanding, we need to get the dust out of the lines, otherwise they look as if the lines aren't very well defined, and it's only because you've got sawdust in them. The shop vac is the best thing apparently. Okay, so here's one of the first times I've offered the lid up to the body when it's all glued up and everything, and what I have realised is it's a very tight fit, and so I may have to do a tiny bit of sanding to get all these dovetails to mate up nicely, and then I can mark up the neck there to work out how deep the pickup has to go. And that's a bit of a undefined thing at the moment. Sound holds up nice. I don't know if I'm going to put something black behind there, mounted off the inside, so that the sound still comes out, but the sunglasses are definitely black, possibly shiny even, not sure. So that's it, and up here the speaker will go on the inside, of course. Control panel, plenty of room for the wires to go across to the front. So that's it. And then the box needs something on the inside to hold the removable panels in place, and so we designed something in 123D design and 3D printed, and it's got a captive nut which is held in place with a dab of araldite, and these are stuck around the inside of the box around the panel apertures, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so the plan is that this thing has its own built-in electronics, with the pickup going to a preamplifier and also an amplifier module with a speaker on the inside. This is the basic block diagram. A bit of a pig's arse, And this is the preamplifier design. The preamplifier is a very simple common emitter with emitter degeneration, and that's about it. It's going to distort somewhat. So here we have a quick test of the electronics. Where's my slide gun? So this is the kipper control. So this is the kipper control. This is minimum kipper and maximum kipper. That would be preamp on a normal thing, and this is the overall volume. And it howls a bit, so I've got to do something about that. So I will have a go at sticking some 100 nanofarad capacitors all over the place. But at the moment it's being powered from a USB thing through the wall adapter, which is a 5 volts to 9 volt boost adapter, rather than the 9 volt battery, which will go in this adapter here. This is the preamp. This speaker has got the amplifier attached to it. That's the input from the guitar that I'm currently using to feed it, but that will be connected to the pickup instead. So there you go. That's the Langdon-Smith Jardine Kipper Distorto Pig preamplifier, designed on the 9th of November 2019. Yeah, baby. Okay, this is the point of no return. I'm araldating the neck into the body. The reason I'm araldating it other than using screws is the blocks that I made at each end, that block and that little block there which it's sitting on, they weren't exactly the right height. There's a gap between 1/4 and about 1.5 millimeters depending on the exact thickness, the position. So basically I need something to fill that void because it's sort of effectively resting on the hole in the box at each end, and that sets it to exactly the right height for the body, for the front face of the guitar. So essentially those blocks weren't exactly the right height, so the araldite is going to fill the void and then the front of the guitar will be glued on top. So there we go. And the mixing palette for the araldite tonight was a Corona pack. Good quality cardboard and quite tasty beer. Yum. Well, this is it. The moment of truth. It's like taking a patient out of traction. That's the peg rattling. Well, looks like we have a guitar, and this is actually dried alright. I'm barely going to have to do any sanding on that. So, this is the first time I've ever put strings on this thing. I've discovered a few things so far. Now, I knew with the plan for the headstock that I'm going to have something to hold the strings in line, because you normally have the pegs offset and all sorts of things like that to keep the strings going, and you have little pegs sticking up, and I'm going to use those to hold the bottle opener in the correct place. You don't want that thing falling off when you're trying to use it. That would be a disaster. So the thing is, what I've got to work out is exactly how to hold this thing right. So at the moment the nut slides about because it's not being held down by the tension of the strings, or at least when it does they try to pull it to one side. But if I hold that in the centre, I've checked that there is plenty of room. The pickup is sitting in its 9.5mm recess. And there's plenty of room below that and where the pickup would sit. So it's almost a guitar. My God, this is a fiddly setup. Anyway, I snapped a drill and scuffed up the lovely Jameson bottle opener. Boom! What a mess. And these string spacers, that one is in exactly the right place, and these two are a few millimeters out, so I need to increase the diameter of these two a little bit, because the bridge wants to sort of sit back over there, because of the position of these strings. So if these strings, if I slacken that off, oh by the way, must be other cigar box guitar. So this one is roughly in the right place now. Now I haven't set anything up on the string height or anything, but it's roughly about the right sort of position. And then I've got all this crap at the top to sort out, but it's a start. Early days yet. I've never ever done this before, and I'm making this up as I go along. But that's in approximately the right place. Well, it's by no means finished, but it is currently approximately a playable instrument. This is the Langdon-Smith blues machine. I've spent 2 or 3 hours messing about with it, with the strings, trying to get this bloody lot up here sorted out to make it playable. The nut has to have the height tweaked a little bit maybe, but I can get a tune out of it approximately. There you go. Next to my old faithful chicken bone John one, which was the thing that inspired me to have a go at making something like this myself. Go and see Chicken Bone John's website. He's a star, that man. And he's got some great videos on how to play the damn thing as well, which is something I need to learn how to do. But this, I'm so chuffed with this. I've made something. We must get down to that Texas town, to that home out on the green. And so, ladies and germs, I present to you, for your listening pleasure, the Langdon-Smith blues machine in all its glory. Ooh, yes. An amplified blues cigar box guitar with a bottle opener. So, what does it do? Well, you can just about hear it when it's unamplified. We must be around the Texas town, to that home out on the green. Just let me know you wanna go to that home out on the green. Yeah, have mercy. Fine, got the time and time to get yourself in. So, the basic idea is what one might choose to do. Is to play it with just a little bit of gain. So, without any gain on it, It's alright. But what you probably do is to just put the smallest amount of skank onto it. Just so you've got enough to hear it by. Etc. And you can with that amount of volume get a bit of feedback just by using the kipper control. Give some kipper, mate. So that's basically joyful to play. What I need to do is to put a mark at the 12th fret, because I haven't marked anything on the neck yet. On the side of the neck there's no little courtesy marks to show you where the 3rd, 5th, 7th and 12th frets are, that sort of thing. So I'll keep overshooting beyond the 12th fret, which doesn't sound as good as it should. There's the 12th. Wow. Fifth. And apparently you're supposed to play with your thumb around the back of the neck, not around the front like I'm playing when I'm doing it. Watch a Chicken Bone John video, he'll tell you how to do it properly. He's a good man, that man, knows how to play his stuff. I've learnt a lot from watching his stuff, but I haven't learned how to actually implement it and do it yet. Anyway. And if you wind up the skank, if I want to have fun with a cigar box guitar, that's the sort of thing I want to have fun with. I'm really pleased with how this has worked out, and never in 1,000 years thought I'd be able to make something as fun as this by arsing about in the shed with glue and a few woodworking tools. And I'm really looking forward to giving this to my good mate. because this is going to be so much fun to play. And now I'm desperate to make the next one.